almost all forms of motorsport as careers have many challenges ranging from finances, exposure, opportunities. But despite many of these challenges, there are still some resolute individuals who take these challenges head on and eventually build a career. Today we are being joined by two of those men. One of them, Clint, South African superbike champion 10 times over, a man that looks to inspire the next generation. And one of those people in the next generation of bikers is Cayden Roberts, and he also joins us this morning. Good morning, Clint. Good morning, Cayden. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Morning, Vasir. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Let me start with you, Clint, because we look at the career that you've had. I mean, you've raced all over the world. You were in America for a period of time where you were racing there. You're back now in South Africa. Talk to me about what you would say are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome to get to where you are now, South Africa's 10-time superbike champion.
It's crazy when you say it like that. Sometimes you forget. But I think the challenges is longevity of career, you know, to try and maintain a career and maintain the sponsor relationships and team relationships to be able to be in the championships, because you've got to be in it to win it. I mean, that's the fact with racing, and you can be consistent if you have the right backing. So I would say what I've learned is a smaller portion on the riding side, more on the business side of trying to build a sustainable career here. You know, I think over the years I've definitely focused now more on South Africa and realized that if we look after our partners and our sponsors, we are able to sort of build a career here, which has actually been really enjoyable and a little bit successful. So we keep going.
And keep going, indeed you go. And I'll talk about the race I watched you take part in Kyalami, because it was absolutely insane for me to witness that. At some point, Cayden, I had to ask myself, is this the front or the back? Because the margin between you leading the pack and those that were following was immense. But Cayden, let me come to you. So you started racing at the age of 6,
yes.
And you're 15 now?
Yes, yeah.
How has the journey been for you, and what is your end goal? What do you ultimately want to achieve, other than on one of your race days beating Clint?
Yeah, the journey's been amazing. Since I was 6 years old, I started racing. My eldest brother used to race, so I was at the track all the time, wanting to race. And then when I did, it was just amazing, yeah. Now I'm racing the CBR 150 in the SA Short Circuit Series, and last year I had got my first championship win, and this year we're looking to do the same. Towards the end of this year, we're looking to do a Promo 3 wildcard in Spain, and we've now applied for the Red Bull Rookies selection event, and we're hoping to get invited.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that Spain trip. You go in September, right?
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. Clint, let's talk to the shift for you, because I know when we watched you out in Kyalami, it was the ZX10, and we were told that all the bikers are racing in the exact same bike, because for a large part of your career, people have said, well, perhaps Clint has had the advantage with his bike. It's different. It has functions that others don't have. How was that shift for you, moving from having different bikes in a race to all of you racing in the same bike and still being able to beat everyone?
I think it's weird, because I've had so many years of racing in the top of SA National Championships, and I guess I never really looked at, you know, what other people were saying, because you focus on yourself, you know what I mean? I think any person who wants to win, your first competition is yourself. So I was always focused on what I was doing and what my program was doing, and trying to put the most effort towards myself and my team. And I've definitely seen this year, now that I'm racing a bike that's the same across all riders, it's almost like people have validated my riding a little bit more than they did over the past, which I didn't realize wasn't happening. But I think people have realized that, you know, every now and again I can ride a motorbike semi-fast. So it's nice to see. What I really am enjoying is the camaraderie amongst the riders as well, because we're all riding the same bikes. I mean, guys will share parts. If a guy falls off, you know, they're helping each other to try and build motorsport, and that's actually really quite a refreshing part of the new series that I'm in, which I'm really enjoying.
And you speak about the camaraderie between the racers. I want to touch on How far off would you say the motorsport scene in South Africa is to the rest of the world when you look at what you were able to do in America, when you look at what's happening in Europe currently when it comes to motorbikes and motorsport?
So I do think that unfortunately we are a bit of a way back, and I think that's more based around our rand to euro conversion. I don't think the talent is, we've certainly seen guys like Brad Binder and Darren and Stephen Odendaal in the World Endurance Championship. It's not a case of the talent not being there. I think the rider's talent, it doesn't matter how much money your parents have. If you're talented, you're talented, and I think that's the reality of all sports. But to go to Europe is very difficult. I mean, for a youngster like Cayden, who's got an immense amount of talent, for him to go to Europe and spend 2 or 3 years at 4 or 5 million rand a year, it's a big undertaking for sponsors. I mean, we're very fortunate with King Price and the team we have, but the reality is South African companies very rarely are able to back a rider overseas at that kind of value. So I don't think as a nation we're not talented or good. It's just unfortunately it's difficult to get there with our rand conversion. That's a tough part for us.
I hear you. Cayden, speak to me a little bit more about your trip to Spain. Who are you going with? What kind of competitions are you going to be involved in? And is that now what you're going to use to prepare you for your second championship title?
Yes. In September, we're looking to go to do a wild card in the Promo 3 category in Spain. And yeah, it's going to be a big experience. It's going to be me and my dad. And also while we're in Spain, we hopefully were wanting to be invited to the Red Bull Rookie Selection event. Yeah.
What is it about that event that makes you want to be a part of it?
Sure. The Red Bull Rookies Cup is the best of the best at the moment. Or I think all riders my age want to be there. To be invited last year was a really big thing for me, and hopefully this year we can get invited and selected.
And let me just get this from you, Cayden. You started at the age of 6. Both your brothers also ride, right?
Yes.
What influenced you to get into riding, and who do you look up to outside of Clint?
I was basically born at the racetrack. Every weekend I was there, crawling on my knees. And I say my brother was a big inspiration. Him racing motorbikes and being my older brother, I always wanted to be like him. So obviously I wanted to race. And also my younger brother races, Blake. He also looks up to me. And I think apart from Clint, Brad and Darren, they're really inspirational. What they're doing overseas is inspiring, and yeah, it makes me want to be like them.
And soon that will be you. As I wrap up with you, Clint, Cayden mentions his family, his brothers. We've seen how important support can be. And I mean, you here this morning, your wife's here, your daughters are here, your father's here. How important is it to have that support structure? And I mean, I know when I saw you out in Kyalami, your whole family was there as well. But for them, it's almost like routine that Clint is going to win, because when your race is on, everyone's just having a good time, and then they wave like, oh, there's Clint, he's coming again. Where's the chasing pack? How important has this support structure been for you and your career?
It's so you're seeing my family when we're winning, and that's the great times. But when they're important is the tough times, and I see that even more with my family now and kids. Racing is a huge portion of my life, but I have a life, and I think that's almost made me a better rider. And one of the things that when I sort of started our King Price Extreme team is I was trying to look for a young rider to be able to build up to hopefully take over from me one day. And an important part was family. And when I met the Roberts family, and even with Craig, who used to look after one of the riders who rode for us last year, Lungo, who's now racing in Spain, Craig sort of takes them over like a dad and runs a family. But it's discipline, and what I enjoy is that there's a family aspect. It's a father with his son racing, which is what I had when I was a kid. And that's been an important part for me, because I think no matter what happens in your career in racing, if you can have a family that's been brought together by motorsport, it's a fantastic thing either way, yeah.
And we love to see it, and we look forward to seeing what both you and Cayden are still yet to do. Good luck out in Spain. We hope you manage to do everything that you set out to achieve there.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Cayden Robert as well as Clint, who is the South African 10-time Superbike champion, talking all things motorsport and superbikes.